You're welcome to rest your hands in your lap if that's a part of how you center, or one hand on the heart, maybe one hand on the lower belly. And I was just mentioning that my brain is navigating certain stimulus that I have a heightened awareness of because of my brain injury. But it's highly likely that you're also navigating some stimuli and that has an influence even if you're not conscious of it. So check in with your body, your brain, your mind, your heart. A highly sensitive, intelligent system. And sensitive in both directions, towards the auspicious and also having difficulty finding the auspicious. So the sensitivity of the system is a blessing when we can be in relationship with it. So lengthen up through your spine. Try to imagine the antenna in you that is both a transmission and a receiving, but also an internal antenna where you can sense in your inner life the breath, your heart rate, circulation, your temperature, digestion, innervation. All of these coordinated systems. And deeper than all of that is your wisdom and presence. So let's breathe in such a way as it elicits your connection to that inner wisdom and presence. And also you can use the breath to dissipate. That's the kittens. You can use the breath to also dissipate like mental dust bunnies that you might bring to class. So you might use the inhales to feel like, okay, there's my inner connection. And the exhale to set aside that which would distract or disrupt you. And this is a kind of breath to breath, moment to moment opportunity. And you may bring your hands together at your heart, appreciating your dedication for being here and for being on the path itself. And we'll chant Sahana Bhavatu together. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Savidyam Karavavai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidveshavai Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Savidyam Karavavai vahai tejasvinavaditamastu ma virvishavahi. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunatu Savidyam Karavavai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidveshavahi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. With your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart. Release your hands. Please open your eyes. So this morning, let's begin with the kriya practices, the rapid breathing cleansing practices from standing, and then we'll come down to do some from sitting. So you can find your way up to your standing position. Yeah, the kids. So what I'll ask is for a horse stance from you. And a horse stance is about as wide as your yoga mat with your knees bent. And then we're going to do some of the warming practices. I was watching Nicole curled up in her blanket and some others were bundled up. So bend your knees, make two fists like this. And when we swing, we're going to swing back with fists. We're going to swing forward with open fingers. And just start with the swinging. In a moment, we're going to add the breath to this. And it will be a brisk inhale when the arms swing back and a brisk exhale when the arms swing forward. But first, just do the swinging where you can start to sense when you swing, you're sending circulation down to your fingers. You're also able to sense the temperature of the air through which your hands are moving. And you might start sensing a difference in that temperature as your hands get a little bit warmer. Now we're going to add the breath. Inhale back, exhale forward through the nose. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Swing the arms until they're still. And then inhale, straighten both knees. Breathe from the lower, middle to the upper. Hold the breath for just a few moments. And then exhale, come down to a ragdoll forward bend. And in that forward bend, let your body, your upper body relax. The torso is more like a waterfall, including your arms and hands, your head and your hair. And the legs can be steady. Now rising up to standing, let's take a little heel toe to go a tiny bit wider and bend your knees. So this is a little bit wider horse stance. Go ahead and point the toes out slightly. Okay, now we're going to be going side to side. And what you can do here is have your fists just gently striking the back of the waist and the front of the rib cage. This is not new to most of you. And so for those of you who haven't done the practice before, we're stimulating the liver, the spleen, gallbladder, pancreas, the kidneys, the adrenals. In a few moments, we're going to add breathing to this also. And the breath is going to be really strong out through the mouth, like you're blowing out a giant candle many times. The hand position is also going to change. And sometimes we call this saying no to say yes, which means if we have a no that we have to say, what is the yes that we're also saying? Or if there's something we want to say yes to, what is the no that's required to get there? So like this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come to center. Inhale, stand up. Make your feet parallel. Exhale, come down like a rag doll. Let the breath relax. You can breathe in and out through your nose. And more, I should say, let the breath breathe you. So you can feel the experience of the sensitivity and the intelligence of all the systems that take care of you. And now walk yourself back up to standing and go heel toe one more time. Turn your toes out and come down to the jazz dance position like this. Like jazz dance warm-up pose. Press out through your inner thighs into your knees, hands and fingers, gaze down somewhere on the floor in front of you. And let the breath be slow, deep, and steady. If possible, you can balance the smoothness of the in-breath and its length with the smoothness of your out-breath and its length. Now turn your left fingers in, twist to your right. As you're twisting, press into your left knee, so your left upper inner thigh is still lengthening and your left heel still grounded. And come to center and turn your right hand in, twist to your left. As you twist left, lengthen your right inner thigh. And press into your right outer heel. And then return to center. And press down to rise up to standing. Go heel toe to center. Okay, let's come to kneeling with a block. Let me straighten this camera out for myself. And I need to make it a little bit higher as well. So we're going to come down to kneel in Vajrasana. I'm going to recommend that you have a block that you're sitting on if for any reason you need that. And a block in front of you for where your head is going to go when you come down to this kind of position. So let me make a little note for anybody with a hip replacement, because I know some of you are here and I also have a hip replacement. If when you're kneeling like this, the block between your feet is set wide, every time you come down to child's pose, you have a slight internal rotation at the femur. So I would say the block you're sitting on, set it to be more narrow. So your knees are slightly apart and the toes are slightly in. If you don't have a hip replacement, it's a different, doesn't matter so much. Your comfort matters, so you can choose based on that. But when you come down, I want this to be a comfortable place to be without any sense of like pinching at the upper inner thighs. Okay. All right, so now we're going to do bhastrika. We'll have an inhale suspension. We'll have an exhale, we'll go down to the block. We'll see what happens there. We'll come back up. We'll repeat and we'll add a couple of suspensions. Okay, so bhastrika comes from the diaphragm through here. Exhaling out the mouth. Let's begin. Exhale. Inhale through both nostrils. Suspend. Exhale through the nose, come down to supported child's pose. Deeply relax the belly. Walk your hands back to your knees. Okay, and now bhastrika again. And what we're going to do is then 3 suspensions. So we exhale both, exhale left, exhale right. Let's begin. Inhale through both nostrils. Suspend. Exhale both nostrils. Inhale both nostrils up to suspension. Close the right, exhale left. Inhale both up to suspension. Close the left, exhale right. And deeply relax. And then we're going to do kappalabhati, which is through the nose. And in this kappalabhati, when we go to suspension at the top of the inhale. We will then exhale to come down to this child's pose. And then we'll come back up and do another round of the same. And we'll do that 3 times. When we're going down for the exhale, it's purposeful that we're using the mechanics of your body to help the exhale be more complete. At the bottom of that exhale, you can practice like radically relaxing and just seeing what occurs next for the breath in the body. So let's begin that now. Kappalabhati. Exhale. Inhale to suspension. Exhale, glide down. Exhale out through the nose. Walk your hands back, rise up to kneeling. Little sip of an inhale, and then we're going to repeat. Exhale. Inhale to suspension. Exhale through the nose, come down to child's pose. Complete the exhale and then radically relax the belly. Walk your hands back, rise up, and 3rd time. Exhale. Inhale, suspend at the top. Exhale, glide forward, come down to child's pose. And walk your hands back towards your knees. Rise up to kneeling. And notice the quality of your mind, like the state of your internal antenna and even your quote unquote external antenna. And then putting your blocks together at the, let's say, because I have a crisscross mat, I'm gonna call this the front of my mat, but I like it to come back to a wide stance. So you can orient on your mat the way that you need to come into Prasarita Padottanasana. We're gonna be using the legs now as little furnaces for the body. So let's do the legs so that you have an equilateral triangle from your feet up to your hips. So your feet are about one leg length between them. And breathe in deeply through the nose. And exhale, bend your left knee, sit back and down to your left. Inhale to center. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Now keeping the breath strong, smooth and steady. Inhale, center, arms wide. Exhale, left. Take the right arm forward, left arm back. Inhale, center, arms wide. Exhale, bend your right knee, scissor the left arm forward, right arm back. Inhale, arms wide. Exhale, go left and scissor. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Twice more, inhale, center. Exhale, right, last time left. Inhale, center. And exhale, right, last time right. Inhale, center, place your hands on your blocks. And then exhale, bend both knees and reach your hips back as if there was a little invisible park bench behind you. Walk your hands forward, stretch out the back hemisphere of your body. When you bend the knees like this, there's a temptation for the knees to fall forward, but I'd like you to really sense that you're reaching your hips back. The knees being bent, they might be just over your ankles or maybe just over the middle of your foot, but not as far forward as the toes. And then press firmly into both heels, straighten your legs, bring your chest and heart forward like you're doing cow pose. And then exhale, walk your hands to a place beneath your feet and your hips and come down to Prasarita Padottanasana. And then shift your hands to your hips. Please rise up to standing. And let's do heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe into center. And step forward for Surya Namaskar. I forgot my hair tie this morning, so we can all live with it. Join your hands together at your heart. You can appreciate the inner sight, because I'll be appreciating that as well. And when I have to see you guys, I'll just go like that. Okay, Surya Namaskar. Surya is the sun, and that element is also at the third chakra, the solar center. Breathing in, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. Now inhale, go up. Let's be a little bit brisk. Exhale, bow forward, Uttanasana. Inhale forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Left toes back, base of the lunge. Inhale, rise, crescent lunge. Exhale, descend, touch the two blocks. Inhale, downward dog. Exhale, plank pose. Inhale, seal pose. Exhale, cobra. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, plank. Inhale, downward dog. Exhale, left foot forward, the base of your lunge. Inhale, rise, crescent lunge. Good. Exhale, descend. Inhale, step forward. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, rise. Exhale to the heart. Okay. Inhale, rising. Chair. Rising. Descending. Inhale, forward. Left foot back. Inhale, rising. Descending. Inhale, back. Exhale, forward. Inhale, seal. Exhale, forward. Inhale, upward. Exhale, plank. Inhale, dog. Exhale, left foot. Rising. Descending. Forward. Downward. Upward. Inward. Repeating. Upward. Inward. Upward. Downward. Forward. Right foot back. Inhale, upward. Downward. Backward. Forward. Upward for seal or upward dog pose. Forward. Upward. Downward. Backward. Right foot forward. Upward. Downward. Forward. Downward. Upward. Inward. And please release both hands. Now, there's a practice we've been working with. Let's explore it a little bit here. Step your left foot back to the distance that you would use for Parsvottanasana. So Parsvottanasana is shorter than your crescent lunge. I just stepped back so you can see my front foot also. So if the stride's too long, what'll happen when you come forward is you'll be inclined for the hips to go a little wonky. Same if the stride's too short. So put equal amounts of weight in both legs. Reach back and interlace your fingers. Okay, slide your shoulders back. Raise your chest and heart up. So the beginning of this pose this morning is going to be a standing back bend. So strengthen your left butt, yes, and your left heel, and then gaze up. And when you exhale, start bringing your chest and your heart forward. Now this is going to be an inward downward pose. So we don't try to keep the spine like completely straight, but you're also not recommended to be an armadillo or an aardvark. So when you come over, gaze back towards your left heel if possible, and think of the spine pretty evenly in its curve. This is a forward bend curve. You could imagine it like the beads on a mala, one bead to the next being smooth on the string, the thread. Squeeze the arms overhead. Squeeze your shoulder blades towards your spine. And squeeze the shoulder blades away from the base of your skull. And then press into both feet. And as you glide up to standing, keep your leg muscles steady. Stack the vertebrae. At the upper part of standing, roll your chest and heart open. Yeah, I can see through my hair. I got you. Lift your collarbones. Open the throat. It's a standing back bend, not just for your neck. Right? The neck is the last part of the back bend. Keep your left hip stable and go up through your heart. And then bring your head forward. Release both hands, let them dangle, and step forward to mountain pose. And pause to notice right there, the zigzag of the body. Yeah. And let's do the other side, which is going to mean also change the way you interlace your fingers. So if this is habitual, change it by one. And so left foot forward, step your right foot back. Yeah, good. I want you to see my front foot. So it's pointing straight ahead. The back foot has a little bit of an angle. Reach back and change the clasp of your hands. You also can hold a yoga strap back behind the shoulders if you need to. You tone your right butt. Let's go up with the inhalation. Yeah. Your ability to lift the chest and heart from within, this is related to your inhale and exhale suspensions. It's not just the flexibility of a certain part of the system, but the way the whole system is communicating, including flexibility in the interior of the ribs and the chest, your heart, your throat. And come up and pour yourself over your left leg. Okay, so both legs steady and stable. Come on down. Now as you take the arms overhead here, of course, keep both legs stable. The arms overhead, your shoulder blades are opposing that. So the shoulder blades move towards your hips and the hands move away from your hips. But it all starts at the shoulders. It's not that you move the hands from the hands. Move your shoulders to move your arms, to move your wrists and your hands. Slide your shoulder blades away from your neck and gaze back towards your right heel. And press down into your left leg. Keep the muscles of your left leg stable. Roll yourself up. Lift your heart. And then bring your head to level. Release your arms, okay, and step your right foot up to mountain pose. Yeah, great. Pause, let yourself bask right there. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to explore exhale suspension. We're going to use Purvottanasana to do it. The reason for this is that when we go down to the floor later, there's a practice that you can use the exhale suspension in Janusirasana. And I want to warm you up for that in Parsvottanasana. Yeah, Parsvottanasana. So what's going to happen is you'll exhale, you squeeze the belly muscles. You're toning across the transverse abdominis and inwardly. Even you'll tone the upper chest as a part of the exhale, the final part of the exhale. At the end of your exhale, you then radically relax the belly and the muscles that exhaled, but you're not inhaling. We'll hang out there for a moment, then we'll release that and we'll breathe again. Okay, so that's called a passive uddiyana bandha, because I'm not asking you to make the full experience right now. I'm asking you just to exhale, squeeze, and then you'll be releasing, but not inhaling. Let's do it like this. Come down with your right foot forward and your left foot back in the pose called Parsvottanasana, excuse me. You can place the hands on the blocks, and you can put your blocks taller if you need to. You're going to want to be able to exhale and bow in. You'll want to be able to inhale and come forward. Okay. So let's start with the in-breath, and the spine is long. Breathe in, please. And then exhale, curl down. Just look for a complete exhale this time. Tone the deep part of your belly muscles. And then smoothly inhale. Bring your spine forward. Lengthen the back and sides of your waist. And exhale to bow towards your right leg. More importantly, we're using the structure of the pose to practice exhaling completely. Then inhale, glide forward. And this time we'll go to the exhale suspension. So as you exhale, bow over your right leg, press into your hands and arms. Use the resources you have to completely exhale. Then without inhaling, radically relax the low belly. Release that before you inhale. When you inhale, glide your spine forward. Okay, and then exhale, left foot forward. This is an exploration. Take the right toes back. We're going to explore with the other leg forward. Now, some of you are going to find, and it's a mysterious connection, but your hamstring might get more flexible. It's related to what's happening also with your pelvic floor and the inner belly. So without a hope for that, if you have these tight hamstrings that you want to be longer, just notice if anything does happen in that regard. Okay, let's inhale, glide your spine forward, please. And then exhale to bow over your left leg. Squeeze the low belly. Gently begin your inhale. Glide your spine forward. So this is gradually, slowly. And then exhale, bow over your left leg. You're going to gaze back towards your right heel. Once more, inhale, glide forward. It's this exhale that we'll be using the exhale suspension for. So now as you exhale, Bow towards your left leg. Use the resources that help you to exhale completely, holding the breath out at the end of the exhale. Radically relax the belly. Release that, and then inhale slowly. Glide your spine forward. Bend your left knee, step your right foot forward. Uttanasana. Just check and see if Uttanasana feels any different to you, if the hamstrings have been supported. And then hands to your hips, please, and rise up to standing. And see what it's like to come to mountain pose. Where do you find yourself now? You can actually practice closing your eyes in mountain pose and just see if maybe you stand a little more quietly in your plumb line. Now I'd like you to use 2 blocks, and if you were in class, I think it was, shoot, I can't remember. You guys know I have amnesia still. Might have been Tuesday, could have been Wednesday, could have been Monday. Put the 2 blocks like this, please. And I'm sure it was within the last week. I just can't remember which day it actually was. So first come down to sitting in Baddha Konasana, like this. So we're going to use the beveled edges of the blocks right now for the outer thighs, right up close at the trochanter, because right there you have these muscle insertions for the deep 6 muscles. There are 6 of them, and they attach around here at the greater trochanter in sort of a fanning shape. So they encompass and they go over towards the sitting bone, to the obturator foramen, and towards the pelvic floor. Okay, so you're sitting on those muscles right now. Please come forward. And noticing the pressure of where the 2 blocks are, please rise up to sit and see if you can sit in between these 2 blocks so that the beveled edge is right there at the outside edge of the trochanter. So there can be a feeling of sinking a little bit for the structure of the body, especially inside the 2 blocks. But at the same time, can you sense during the exhale a little tone at the pelvic floor? So as if the bones were descending, but the pelvic floor is toning during your exhale. And we're going to keep the left hip on the same block, lean to your left, and put the right block up to the medium setting. So it's also diagonal, and this means you have an asymmetrical setup. Okay, so as you rest your right hip, so you're right between the sitting bone, this is the ilium, and the neck of the trochanter. The block is right between those 2 structures. Okay? Yeah, I know it's awkward. Okay, cross your left hand to the outside of your right shin and start twisting to your right. So with your hips a little bit asymmetrical and with a little bit of pressure right behind the trochanter on the right, lengthen up through your spine, but let yourself have some attention for the shape of the pelvic floor right now. Imagine centering your sacrum, even though the 2 blocks are asymmetrical. It's not that I want you leaning. You're not like a lamp post that's rigid and you're leaning to the left. You are a flexible system, a structure that can accommodate some asymmetries. And raise your left arm up and cross your left forearm over your right knee and gaze down. So this is going to be like you're making a twist and a forward bend. Try relaxing the left knee down towards the floor. Think back to your jazz dance warm-up pose where you lengthen the left inner thigh. Press your right knee out into your left elbow, especially if you have a hip replacement, but also if you have a hypermobile structure to your right hip or the right side of your sacrum. And then rise up to sitting. Now we'll stay with the right side. So put the block flat on the right, tuck the left toes under so they're inside, and then open your right knee. So what I'm going to ask you to do is make the foot a little bit diagonal and make it strong, and open the right knee out until your thigh gets to touch the block again, and walk forward. So the position of the right foot there is pretty important because you have your right foot starting at that angle. When you tip out, you have a muscle tone from your foot to your knee to your inner thigh. And the right foot is definitely bent at the ankle, and the left toes are pointed, more like when you're doing lotus pose or if you're a ballerina. Walk your right hand forward, please. Invite your mind and your body to relax. This is your inward antenna. Okay, walk yourself back so that your right hand and wrist go to the inside of your right arch. Place your left hand to your left and twist to your left. And press the right knee open. Swish your low belly to your left, like your belly button is going to aim towards your left knee. And keeping your left hand supported on your left thigh, take your right hand to hold your left wrist and twist again to your left. So what you've done is you just changed the upper back on the right side very slightly, but you've also left the downward pressure of the right arm. Now your twist has to be in the inner belly and from your left arm. And then please rise back up to sitting, and let's check and see how our experiment is going. Put the soles of the feet together and return to Baddha Konasana. I would anticipate that you have many asymmetries in the body right now. Listen for the inner subtle experience of that. Now take your right foot inside, point the toes of the right foot, lean into your right hip and take the block under your left hip and place it up. And then you're going to be sitting on that little bitty beveled edge of the block between the outside of your left trochanter, and it's also actually the outside of your left ilium. It's the spot between them. So this is the ilium. This is the obturator foramen. This is the ilium. Here's the neck of the femur. And you're in the spot between them. Cross your right hand to your left shin, and please twist to your left. And try to put the weight into your left block there where you can sense, but let the spine go up, up, even though you're starting from a place of some asymmetry. Can you imagine the sacrum, the leveling itself, and the spine growing up from there? And raise your right arm up, please. Now rotate to your left and hook the outside of your right arm to the outside of your left knee and make it a forward bend. So the spine is in flexion. You are twisting, but we're adding flexion. And then please rise up to sitting. Now we have the right foot inside, like lotus pose. The toes are pointed. Put the block for the left back to the flat. Make the left foot strong so that at the ankle, when you open your left knee, the ankle doesn't sickle. You don't end up curving it. And then come forward. In this forward reach, you want to lengthen the left inner thigh up, a bit like earlier when you were in the jazz dance warm-up pose. Now walk back and place your left hand firmly to the inner arch of your left foot. Okay, press down for your left arm, right hand to your right knee, and turn your belly to your right. So this twist has some leverage from your left arm rooting down, but you really want to connect to the inner belly, as if you were going to orient your navel to point towards your right knee. And keeping your right hand strong on your right thigh, now place your left hand to hold your right wrist. So the twist just became less supported by your left arm and more reliant on your right arm and the inner belly. Being able to release tension from the lower belly is really helpful for learning exhale suspensions, because we have to know how to both deeply tone and then deeply release the belly. And so roll up to center, and now this time come to Baddha Konasana. Yes. And then where you're sitting on the two blocks, bring your knees up and place your feet flat on the floor. So you're sitting right between those. I hope you're not just on the pokey edge of the block there, but you're sitting between the diagonal edges of the block. And wrap your elbows around your knees. Bow your head. So the tailbone is not touching the blocks. The sitting bones are not touching. They're down lower than the two blocks. And you're resting on what's actually called the neck of the trochanter. And roll yourself up to sitting and lean slightly back. And there might be the pokey edges of the two blocks. Pick up the knees. Oh yeah, that might be tender for some of you, right? So you're on this massage trajectory. Do it a couple times. I hope it's not like god-awful painful. Of course, if it is, you don't have to do it. But if it's interesting and the sensations are bearable, you can play with it. I'm not saying it's pain-free for me. It has sensations. I don't know if I'd call them painful sensations. They're strong sensations. You know, let's place the 2 feet and come into Uttanasana. And try to sense what your Uttanasana is like when you've released some belly tension, but you've also worked with the small muscles called the deep 6 and the outer hip muscles as well. And rise up to stand. Okay, there you are. Alrighty, let's get a chair, please, and 2 blankets. So what I'd like you to do is have the chair for your legs and 2 blankets. This is going to lead us to Shavasana, and then we will have the exhale suspensions after you rest the mind. So let's take each blanket, please, and make it open, and then length to length. In half twice. Try to get the wrinkles out of your blankets. These particular blankets are interesting because this design right here must have required extra yarn. So this is actually like a little rise on the blanket 3 times. And I have to get it in the spot like that's not painful to the bones of my spine. So you may not have such a consideration, but I'd like you to have your hips here, legs up, and then your spine out like this. My hope is that your blankets are tall enough that your thighs easily reach the seat of the chair, but you also have the option of tipping the chair backwards to support the knees if your feet don't go through the opening of the upper back of the chair. And then lay the arms out, please. Hi. And let's do the palms face down for your nervous system to be downward and inward. And close your eyes. If you think of the physical practice we just had, there is an intention inside that practice. I don't want you to squander it, so don't daydream during Shavasana. Let yourself rest and integrate. Also means you're going to be letting go of some of the tension in your body. So integrating what is medicinal, releasing that which is ready to be sort of dissolved, I like to say. Hey. It may help you to have a sense of like softening the skin of the outer body as a way to represent your willingness to have the dissolving happen. It may also help to let your mind rest in the pauses of the breath cycle, representing your willingness for the integration part of the cycle to happen. Allow the skin of the whole body to soften, but especially consider relaxing the skin between your eyebrows, at the corners of your eyes, and towards your hairline. Relax the eyelids themselves. And from the bridge of your nose, soften your cheeks. And let them relax down towards your ears. And relax your upper lip over your teeth. You can soften the hinge of the jaw, so your lower jaw drops down away from your upper jaw. Allow the tongue to deeply relax at the bottom of your mouth. And imagine that melting is also an invitation for the neck, the skin on the sides of the neck, and around to the back of your neck, at the base of the skull, and down towards the upper part of your shoulder blades. Even the interior of the throat can begin to relax. And imagine softening the place right between the two collarbones at the top of the sternum. It's called the sternoclavicular notch. Allow the skin over the collarbones also to soften, and for each shoulder to get a little heavier. Invite the release of any internal tension in the upper chest, in the space behind your collarbones, or underneath your shoulder blades, where the shoulder blades and the ribs and the back of the lungs are. Invite the heart to be at ease, the organ of the heart, but also the emotions of the heart. And invite this ease to translate down into your abdomen as well. We're going to rest for just one more minute. And then bringing some awareness to the inner body. Welcome a slightly deeper breath in and out through the nose. And bring your knees towards your chest. Roll to your side. Come up on one or both of those blankets to the position called Janu Sirsasana, like this. I'm going to teach you a practice right now that leads to meditation. So what we're going to be doing is called Maha Mudra. So we're going to be in Asana like this. You'll inhale, you'll exhale, preparing for exhale suspension. That will also include uddiyana bandha. So we'll squeeze the breath out. We'll be thoughtful about it because we just had shavasana. We squeeze, and then we release the muscles that were a part of the exhale. We're not inhaling. And at that moment of release, we're then going to pretend to inhale. And this internal line of the bandhas will come up from the pelvic floor to the inner belly up to the throat. And we'll be up like this during the suspension. And then we'll inhale and we'll exhale to relax over. Okay, let's try it together. So you reach out to what you can hold. And please inhale, lower belly, mid-torso, upper back, and heart. And then exhale as completely as you can without rushing. You're going to hold the exhale breath out, radically relax the belly, and make a pretend inhalation. Release the bandhas. Inhale smoothly. And exhale to bow over your right leg. And rise up to sit, and let's try it on the other side. So fold your right foot in. Take the left leg out, watching out for kittens. Okay. Lengthen your leg, reach up with your toes so you have them to hold on to. During the uddiyana bandha and the exhale suspension, you are pulling upwards. You want the bandhas to help you kind of ascend the inner throat you're going to feel, but also ascending through the upper palate and the crown of the skull. So let's inhale first. And then exhale slowly, deliberately. Squeeze the exhale out while lengthening the spine. Then you hold the exhale breath out, relax the belly, make a pretend inhale. Then you release the bandhas before you inhale smoothly. And then exhale and drape yourself over your left leg. And rise up to sitting and fold your leg into your meditation seat. We get to practice this more, so don't worry if you had questions or even if you had confusions. For right now, let's come to sit. Listen for the inner quiet of your practice, what it can cultivate in you for stitao, which means stable tranquility, or stable access to that inner quiet. Invite your mind to stay immersed in the plumb line, which is also called the central channel. Deeper than your breath, deeper than your senses, deeper than circulation. The inner wisdom, the kind of inner grace. I called earlier in our practice the essential self. Keep dropping your mind down into the quiet of the central channel while raising the spine up. There's a lift at the crown of your skull still. You can join your hands at your heart and bring into your awareness now the countless, millions, we can say billions of others who would also benefit from a practice that helps them to awaken, to refine their attention, to reconnect to their essential self. How fortunate we are to have found this path, even if we came to the path of yoga through some adversity or suffering or pain. We found our way here. So we'll close this morning with Loka Samasta. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Okay, with your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart. Thank you very much, everyone. Namaste. come up to see you closer. Hi. Thank you, Kay. I know they were sleeping during the active part of the practice, and then they got really interested during meditation, but not interested in meditation. Yeah.